Hello fellow brawlers, I'm KairosTime and it is time to brawl. Now this is a very exciting episode, the very first ever Brawl Stars Community Roundtable right here on the channel, hosted by myself, Lex, and then Trikshot, one of the moderators on the Brawl Stars subreddit. Now this video was actually recorded a week ago, meaning that it happened before the most recent Brawl Stars update. So there's a few things that were taken a little bit out of context, but the community had some amazing things, and you're definitely not going to want to miss out on the kinds of suggestions that the community brought up for this video. Hope you enjoy! Hello fellow brawlers, my name is KairosTime and I'm super excited for today's episode. Today we're going to be doing the first ever Community Brawl Stars Roundtable. We've got some special guests here on the line. First of all, we've got Lex. How are you doing today, Lex?
Man, I'm doing great. I'm really excited to see, everything the community has to offer here. I'm sure they got some great ideas, and it's always good to get everybody's opinion on that and find out what they all got in store.
And then we also have a really special guest. We've got Trikshot. He's a moderator over on the subreddit for Brawl Stars, as well as the Brawl Stars Discord server. How are you doing today, man?
Doing pretty well. Thanks for having me.
This is going to be a really special video today. What we've done is about a week or so ago, we went and posted some questions on the subreddit for Brawl Stars. Basically, what do you think that Brawl Stars needs before it goes global? What do you think it needs after it goes global? Some reworks on maybe some game modes, maybe some brawlers, and anything else that the community might be interested in responding here. What we've done is we've taken the top comments that the Reddit users have voted up to the very top, and we're going to be going over those today, as well as adding our own commentary to see basically where Brawl Stars is at right now. It should be pretty interesting. First question here we've got is, what do you think Brawl Stars needs before it should go global? The first response is from Master Wong 706. He says a purpose to push up trophies. Once you get lots of brawlers up to that 500 mark, it's just kind of stressful and kind of annoying. He wants a reason for us to push more trophies higher past that. What do you think? What do you have to say about that, Lex?
I mean, I totally agree. There isn't a lot of purpose after, you get your brawlers maxed out at 500, level 20. It's like you grind and you're really punished for any kind of loss, and you don't gain a lot by wins, and it's kind of like, yeah, what do we do after we get maxed out? And I think that there absolutely needs something to be done about that. Back to the original question of, what really needs to be in the game. I do think there's a distinction between what the game really needs and what would be nice. And I think one of the things that you could do to fix this, I don't have an incentive to push, or at least not completely fix it, but give it an alternative, is incorporate some sort of league system into the game, kind of like, well, like most MOBAs have, like say League of Legends, let's pick the most popular one. You have ranks that you progress through, and I think that would be a really cool thing that is needed in the game. I don't know, that's just my opinion on that.
Yeah, no, I think that's a really great opinion. But do you have anything to say to that, Trikshot?
Well, I mean, I think that at least what the community's reacted with on the subreddit especially, they really think that there needs to be more progression, like Lex said, maybe a league system like in League of Legends. I think we're, almost there with that season rewards already in the game. Depending on your trophy amount, you get more coins, but to give people more of a goal to push forward to, different rankings and ladder, make it a lot more competitive. I think that could also be something that is, big for getting people to push their trophies up, give them a big reason to do that.
Yeah, no, I can absolutely see what you're saying there. I mean, there's a lot of progression as you get up to that first 500 mark, where you get coins every time you rank up a brawler and stuff. But after that, it's just kind of like, well, am I gonna get to the #1 spot in the world? Probably not. So what's the reason of really pushing?
Right.
So, very, very interesting response there. Then the second highest rated comment for this first question is from FreeFGP. He says, before the game goes global, we need spectator mode and replays, and then finishing voices for brawlers. Just some small details to make the game look finished. Honestly, this is actually where I'm at. If I were to say, what does Brawl Stars need before it goes global? Like, the gameplay's fantastic. There are definitely some things that still need to be worked on, but I feel like these three things, spectator mode, replays, and finishing voices for brawlers, that's all I really... That's what I want in Brawl Stars right now, at least for my YouTube channel. I don't know. What do you think about that, Trikshot?
I think spectating is something that is pretty essential, and replays as well, because once spectating comes in, the competitive scene will, boost by a lot. Tournaments, the subreddit can start running their own tournaments, and lots of other people can run tournaments and stream them by watching, these super competitive games. And I think that, the voices are just small things that need to happen. But, I think that'll come in once the game releases globally, because that'll kind of be like the big push out of beta.
Yeah, absolutely. How about you, Lex?
I completely agree with him there. I mean, I don't need spectating mode has to come in before the game goes global. It's just this style of game. It's a necessity. Replays would be really, really nice, but do I think it's an absolute must on replays? Probably not, but spectating has to be. Replays would be pretty high up there as well. Finishing voices, I agree that it would be nice, but does that really need to happen before global? No, I don't think so. It just is a lot of fun. I enjoy it, but I don't think that it has to happen before global.
Yeah, no, I can see where you say that. It doesn't. It's not a core mechanic of the game for sure. Third highest response for this first question is from the JB3403. He says some balance changes regarding brawlers that are either underwhelming across multiple game modes like Piper, and then also maybe a rework for other brawlers that are just super strong in one game mode, but maybe mediocre or poor in other game modes like Mortis. He also says, yeah, Mortis. Oh, that guy. I really need a buff. He also says we also probably need maybe 1 or to 3 more brawlers in the game, as well as that he'd like to see some more maps. Do you have any responses to that, Lex?
I mean, it's a very good comment, very good suggestions, but I think that most of those fall into it doesn't really need to happen, but it would be something that is be very good to happen, after the game goes global. Again, not core mechanics, because I think there's enough brawlers right now for the game to go global. Would more brawlers be nice? Sure, absolutely. Would more maps and game modes be nice? Yeah, that'd be awesome, but does it have to have that? I don't think so. And I think that there's probably still some talk about, obviously balancing is going to happen, constantly. So I do like his suggestions, but I don't know if I completely agree that they are absolutely needed. But by the way, JB3403, he has a YouTube channel. Go check him out.
Yes, absolutely. Completely agree with that. He's fantastic. As well as he's a moderator on the subreddit Discord server, right?
Yes, he is.
He's a pretty stand-up guy. Yeah, no, I'd absolutely agree with that. I think very good points. I think these definitely should be on the radar for Supercell, but maybe after the game mode or the game's actually released. Did you want to add anything to that, Trikshot?
No, it mostly covers everything. I think that the Brawl Stars team right now is doing an excellent job listening to us, especially after the December update. I think less than 2 weeks later, they pushed out some new patch notes. They changed a bunch of stuff. They fixed a lot of the complaints that people had initially with the update. So I think they're doing a really good job listening, and they're going to continue to do that after the game goes global.
Yeah, they really have. I mean, it seems like every balance that they do has tons of feedback from the community. I swear, it's like you'd think they're using that as their own forum section, right? Wait, that's what they're doing.
Yeah, they are.
Cool. Okay, so next, we're going to move on to the second question here. After the needs are met for global, so let's say after global release, what do you think should be added into the game after global release? First response is from Kion Killer. He says monthly balance changes. Maybe every month, all the game modes get a new map or a new brawler. He says achievements and brawler achievements to give your brawler something special. A new ranking system so you can get past level 20 so players have an incentive to push, which we kind of did already talk about that. More skins, right? And then he also had a suggestion of bonus gems added to brawl boxes, similar to tickets, where they just kind of like pop up after you actually receive what was in the box. What did you think of that there, Trikshot? How much of that do you think is absolutely essential that should be on Supercell's radar?
I mean, after it goes global, I think the balance changes have to keep happening in order to, keep the game fresh and interesting, every now and then. You can't just have the same type of meta going on. But, when a new map and a new brawler every other month, that might be a little bit too much. I mean, they're pretty good on their updates, but I like to see different content than just those happening every other month. And also for more skins, that'd be awesome. Maybe some, free skins. You get in a nice league, you get a skin at the end of it for winning.
Yeah, that'd be sweet.
But about gems, I'm not sure if I really agree there, because in Brawl Stars, I think out of all the Supercell games, gems are some of the most rare currency you can have, and there doesn't really need to be a way to buy it to get some for free, because I think gems are kind of just very, very special to the game in the way that it works. So it's very, I don't know, it helps your progression, but it's not essential. Kind of like other Supercell games where gems are very much needed. But I don't know about that, if adding bonus gems pro box is essential.
Yeah, no, I think that's a fair point. Did you want to respond to that, Lex?
Yeah, I'd like to actually piggyback off what Trikshot said, is that with the gems there, if you were to get gems as a free-to-play player, which I get it, if you're a free-to-play, you don't have any money, and that would be nice to get some gems, but because the game is right now so cheap to max out, cheap, that's a relative term, I should say, that's still a lot of money to some people, me included, but it's a lot more inexpensive than some of their other games. I think that if you were just to be giving gems out like that, it wouldn't really make sense for them. But I do think that where he was talking about some different achievements, which we don't have currently any, that would be pretty cool. I don't maybe reward you with some coins. That would be nice. One thing that I didn't see on there, but I think would be really cool, is special events. I think that would be really awesome, and potentially you could get some kind of cool skins, just like he was saying, out of these special events. That would be really awesome.
Yeah, that would be really sweet. I think probably the biggest gripe for free-to-play players is not being able to get those skins. And I think if there was a secondary way to get some skins, maybe not all of them, maybe some skins are only purchasable for those that are able to spend money on the game, but maybe there's some that, you know, free-to-play players, if they work really hard, they max out a brawler or something like that, maybe they get a special skin for that brawler.
Yeah,
Just an idea. Yeah, I think that's probably the biggest thing that he's coming from, because you're absolutely right. I think that the game is a lot less expensive to max out your account in comparison to other Supercell games, for sure.
Right. Easy for me to say #Dirty Jimmer.
Yeah, I know, myself included as well.
I think we're all in that group.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, so next comment is from AR Jeff. He says, I believe that after getting things like band mail, spectating, and a few more quality life improvements, we should also get some sort of a band versus band game mode post-global release. What do you think about that, Lex?
I really like the idea. I mean, let me address the first part. Band mail, absolutely. Spectating, absolutely. More quality of life, yes, yes, please. Band versus band game mode, that is intriguing. I don't know how that would work, because of course you have to be online at the same time as the other people you're competing against. That might be a little bit hard to work out with, you know, people playing all over the world, but it sounds really cool if they could work it out somehow.
Yeah, kind of interesting thought. How about you, Trikshot? You read the Reddit a lot more than I do. Any hints or ideas as far as how a band versus band could work out? Or
I mean, well, like Lex said, it's going to be very difficult because in this game it's all about being online against your opponents. So I think the only way it could really work is, one, you would have to have a very active band, but you could really work it out with having less player sizes, because your entire band, that requires having at most 100 people online, which is, you know, not very reasonable. But if, for example, you went in with 5 or 10 of your band members and you went against another band that also had 10 members, you know, it'd be like maybe a 30-minute bracket match that you would play. Something like that would be pretty nice for band versus band, but I'm not sure if we can really expand on the entire band playing a match, because it's not really that effective.
yeah, I think this was one of the biggest when Clash Royale first came out, I was like, dude, we need some sort of a clan v clan like Clash of Clans is. And then as the game got out, I was like, you know what, we don't really need that. Clash Royale is a totally different game. I think Brawl Stars is also kind of a totally different game. Maybe like a 10v10. That would be really intense. You know, you could grab your band together and do something like that. But I think, yeah, it'd be interesting to see how it would work out. It's definitely intriguing, as Lex said. One more, just a quick thought from Mr. 0345 Skeleton. Says that he wants the ability to remove bots and also have the ability to view the map before brawling. I think that kind of fits into some quality life changes. Do either of you feel like you want to talk about that before we move on?
I'm just confused on what remove bots really means.
Like in Showdown, if you wanted to play a 6-person Showdown, you couldn't do that because it adds bots in there automatically.
Oh yeah, you're right. Okay, so I mean, that would be essential to like maybe practicing with your bandmates. That would be something that's really nice. But viewing the map beforehand, I think that's something that, you know, community websites and wikis can really take over on that hand.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah, definitely. Well, let's go ahead and move on then. So, next question. Which brawler do you think needs the biggest rework, and how would you rework it? Now, I was actually surprised to see that the highest voted and the third highest voted response was actually Nita. I was expecting Mortis, and they both said Nita. So Java Mega says Nita has been extremely underwhelming in most game modes since, or besides Smash and Grab. Nita's bear walks or moves too slowly, allowing enemies plenty of time to react. And then he suggested boosting its speed to 650, which is the base speed of most brawlers, then maybe giving a little bit of a range buff. And then also he suggested a rework of Nita's main attack, which is called Rupture, right? It's kind of like a seismic earthquake, right? His suggestion is to allow it to travel 3 tiles through any barrier, regardless of how close Nita is to her enemy, which is an interesting rework. The third highest person responded and says, I believe Nita needs a change in her attack. I would rework it so that her stomp would create a circle of damage around her as well as the regular straight shot forward. So we have 2 different reworks for Nita. What do you think about that, Trikshot?
I think that, so the first part where the bear moves too slowly, I think it definitely does need a speed buff. It's just way too slow at this point. Anything can outrun it, especially with the recent buffs to Bull and Primo in their speed categories. I think that Nita's bear is just a little bit too weak right now. That definitely needs a boost. But the attack going through any barrier seems like it would move Nita from being a low brawler to just insane.
Right.
almost like Barley or Dynamite.
I think it'd be even crazier than that. Imagine trying to hide in Showdown and just there's a Nita shooting you through the wall.
You're like, shoot. Yeah, there's not very much you could do. She definitely needs some nerfs if that were the case. But what do you think about having that stomp around her where she has that circle? Just kind of increasing the area of effect of her damage.
Well, I mean, it's an interesting idea. And I really want to see how you can switch between different attack modes, because I haven't really seen that yet, between switching 2 different attack modes, see how it works. But I think it could be interesting. Give Nita a lot more, she could be a lot more versatile in her gameplay.
Absolutely. What do you think, Lex?
Well, I mean, the question, when you're talking about the biggest rework, I honestly don't think any brawlers need like a true rework. Now the bear moving too slow, that's absolutely true. I mean, it's just a minor distraction, really. It's not a big threat in the game, and any good team is going to kill that bear off in just an instant, and it's like, great, I built that super up for what? So I think definitely her bear needs to walk faster. The ideas, I don't like the idea of shooting through a barrier. That does sound completely crazy. However, the other idea is actually pretty cool. I mean, I guess if it would only, I guess the area damage would be the biggest question. If it was only like someone who was standing almost on top of her, that might be kind of cool. But do I think that's really needed? Probably not, but it's still a very cool idea. It might be pretty neat if, seeing it in action.
Yeah, absolutely. Maybe even a possible new brawler, some sort of a tank that just does a bunch of damage around him or something like that. But
that would be cool.
Yeah, very interesting thoughts
Definitely
right there. Now the
good ideas, yeah.
Yeah, some really great stuff here. So the second highest voted person was Arigs, and he says Mortis has been the most controversial brawler in the history of the game. There are people who want buffs, people think he's balanced, and even people think that he needs a nerf. He says he doesn't completely agree with that. He thinks that he just isn't balanced. He's not balanced. He's just broken in a certain sense, because in like basically any game mode he's kind of underwhelming. But then there's Brawl Ball where he's just ridiculously strong. Arigs suggests more health, and then maybe some more damage, and then he talked a little bit about that. If you guys are interested in exactly what he said, you can definitely check out the Reddit post. I'll link it in the description below. But what do you guys think about Mortis, and how do you think Mortis could be reworked to be a little bit more well-rounded in more game modes and not so overwhelmingly dominant in Brawl Ball? Do you want to take the floor first there, Lex?
Sure, yeah. I think that Args hit it pretty much, head on the nail there, is that to rework or to really give Mortis any kind of big buff, which I don't disagree that it's needed, I think you absolutely have to fix the Brawl Ball problem, because if you give him a big buff, he's already heads and tails better than almost any brawler in Brawl Ball. Maybe Primo is a close second, but if you give him a substantial buff, he is just going to be crazy on Brawl Ball, and still it may make him decent on other game modes, but it just would be unfair in Brawl Ball. So I think that he needs something, and I think that the base health is a good suggestion. His damage probably could use a little bit, but not much. But I like Args' suggestions actually quite well.
Well, what do you think there, Trikshot?
I mean, I definitely agree that Mortis does need to be touched up a little bit. Being a Reddit mod, I think I remove at least 10 to 20 memes about Mortis being a little either too OP or too underpowered or just perfectly right, and everyone's complaining. So I think he does need a little bit of a touch, but his speed should stay the same no matter what his movement, because if you touch it at all, Brawl Ball will be affected. I'd like to give out a special shout out to Riggs, though. He is one of our top idea posters to the subreddit, makes lots of ideas. I think maybe 2 or 3 a week he's posting them. He makes himself in Photoshop. He does a great job over there.
Awesome. Yeah, thank you for saying that. Yeah, I completely agree. I think maybe an idea or a suggestion for Brawl Ball and Mortis. This is just an idea that I kind of shot out there, or have been thinking a little bit about, is some sort of a cooldown time where a brawler cannot pick up the ball after they've shot it. And I think the biggest issue with Mortis is just that he can self-pass, and he just moves so ridiculously fast. That's the only really suggestion that I have. I don't know. Do either of you have a suggestion or a different way to make it so that he can be buffed and usable in other game modes without being incredibly overpowered in Brawl Ball?
Yeah, I like your suggestion of the person who passes it can't pick it up for a certain whatever specified amount of time. I like that. I've also seen people float out the idea that you passing the ball uses up one of your attacks, which is I don't like as much as your idea personally, but I do like that idea as well. That would definitely fix the Mortis problem. Well, at least he would be able to dash one time then, because you'd have to use up a shot and then dash to it, and there's your second shot to have it again. So you could dash forward and self-pass one time. So I don't know. There's some good suggestions out there, but something would have to be done.
Yeah, and I think that's actually a really great idea as well. Did you want to add anything before we move on to Trikshot?
No, I basically agree with everything Lex just said there.
Okay, Lex, he's the man with the plan. He knows what to do, right? Okay, cool. So, next question. Which game mode needs the most love, and how would you give it some love? First response is from QWERTY Reb. He says, Heist. Many people think it's unfair to be randomly chosen to attack or defend, so there has been a suggestion to swap sides after the time is up. Maybe shorten the time as well, so that the matches aren't so long. And then when the safe is destroyed, then whoever does more damage or destroys the safe faster wins. What do you think about that? Do you want to talk about that there, Trikshot?
I think that Heist definitely needs to be touched on. It's probably like one of the least, one of the worst game modes that in player interaction-wise. A lot of players just avoid it. They don't like it. I usually just play with bots. It's just a little bit too unfair. If one map you're really good on attack, one map you're really good on defense. I really like the idea of the match being a little bit longer, but you swap sides in it, kind of like Overwatch, where you swap sides, you defend and attack, then you swap over. So something like that could be really cool.
What do you think, Lex?
I agree. Yeah, I agree with that. The problem with me with Heist is that in every other game mode, whenever you queue up for a match, you know what you're in for. You know that you're either going to need S and G or whatever it is. You know what you're about to play. In Heist, you don't know whether you're going to attack or defend, so you kind of have to build your team around something just kind of general. You can't really maximize your team for the objective you're about to partake in, and I think that hurts it a little bit. And of course, Heist has been pretty hard to balance for quite some time. Since the game launched, they've had problems balancing Heist, and I think that shows here. I'm just like, I don't hardly ever play Heist myself personally. I usually just play with the bots and get the coins.
Yeah, no, I'm right there. Yeah, well, what do you think about... Now, I don't know about you guys, but I would be totally fine with 2 separate queues for Heist, either offense or defense. You get to choose which brawlers, and then it's the best of offense versus the best of defense, and then they could balance it based off of that. And I would even be fine having more of a wait time for matches if I were in the queue for the longer waiting time or whatever. I don't know. What do you guys think of something like that?
The problem with that is that, and that's not a bad suggestion. However, if you did that, you would have to make the maps balance. I mean, if you were going to play GG Corral, would you queue up for defense or offense? Yeah, everybody's going to queue up for
defense. Oh yeah, not me.
That's the
I'm a noob though.
GG Corral is much easier to attack, and they balance it a ton of times. So while I like the idea, they would have to make sure the maps are balanced to do that, and they've had a hard time doing that.
Yeah, that's the fairest point to that.
Yeah, for sure. I agree there. It's really hard to touch Heist right now, but I think something needs to be done with the game mode.
yeah, it needs to be something that's fun. So I get that. Well, the second comment here is from Immortal366. He says that Showdown needs the most love. It needs a trophy balancing of above 400 trophies. It takes longer to finish a match than any of the 3v3s if you plan on winning, and if you make just one mistake, you lose tons of trophies. Also, he says that, you know, the big problem that everybody talks about, also there are too many teams, which means that you can get wrecked if you're not in one. And his suggestion to that is to add one trophy for every kill and leave it at that, so that people would be more willing to take out teamers or whatever, so they can get that extra trophy. Kind of an interesting idea. I hadn't thought about that before. What do you think about that, Lex?
Well, I mean, I'll just say straight away, and if anybody's watched my channel, you know that I very rarely play Showdown. Feast or Famine is the only one I really like, and mainly it's just because I suck at it. But I like his idea. I don't know if he means that, like, say if I queued in as normal and I died first and I got, you know, 10th place, do I gain 0 trophies? That's just it, I just lose? Or do I still lose trophies? And then if, you know, do I get an extra trophy for every, so I could possibly get, what is it, you know, 16 trophies out of it? I'm not sure exactly what he means, but Showdown, you know, I don't know. Trikshot, you play Showdown, you probably can answer this better than me.
I do play a lot of Showdown, you're right, but I mean, I play Showdown the most of any game mode, but I am probably the person who dislikes Showdown the most. It's you know, Showdown for me has always been a tricky subject, because if you come in 10th, it's just the worst feeling, you know, like you spawn, you're trying out something new, you're playing, like, I don't know, something, you're going rogue, you're playing Piper and Showdown, and then like a Primo spawns right next to you. You know, it's all over for you. You -7 trophies or something. It's just the worst feeling in the world. So I think that maybe tone down the trophies you lose. Like, you know, if you come in 10th place, maybe -3 instead of -7. And I like the, you know, possibly the more kills you get, the more trophies you get. But that also removes the strategy of the people who, like, lurk in the bushes. You know, when you're the last guy alive, you have 1,000 HP left, and boom, out of nowhere, a crow comes out of the bush. I think that's also something that, you know, it's a tactic in Showdown still, you know, hiding and being really stealthy. So
the weenie tactic, that's mine. That's what I do.
Yeah, there you go.
That's me too. The trophy pushing weenie tactic, that's what I do. That's awesome. Yeah, no, I think that and you know, teaming in Showdown there's been so many different posts, there's been so many different suggestions. I don't even know what to say about it anymore. It's just you either team or you don't, and either you have fun or you don't with Showdown. I don't know what to say.
That's basically it.
Yeah. Let's go and move on to the next section now. Brawl Stars has really come a long way, and I did want to just talk about one comment really quickly before we touch the last question. This was a post by 404 Not Found. He says, I honestly think that progression is easier and faster than Supercell's other games. As pointed out by a video by Coach Corey, it only takes something like $200 to max your count, while people would spend thousands on Clash Royale not be maxed, and even more than that in Clash of Clans. What do you guys think about that? It's kind of interesting to hear. What do you think, Trikshot?
I think that progression definitely is a lot faster, like you said. You know, in Coach Corey's video, if you guys watched it, there's also a post on the subreddit a few times. You know, it costs $200. It might be even less now with the ticket system being in the game, because I believe this post was made around the time tickets first came out. I'm not sure, it might have been beforehand, but it's really easy to get coins. It's really easy to get brawlers, and you know, you could see people who are completely free to play, who just play a lot of, you know, those ticketed events, but having all the brawlers. And once you have all the brawlers, it makes it a lot more, it makes it a lot easier to gain trophies, thus, you know, gaining a lot more coins on season resets. So I think that progression is definitely a lot faster, and it might be toned down by the time we see a global launch. I'm not sure.
Yeah, I don't know if, again, I hesitate to say that it's like so little money, but just in comparison, it is vastly less than their other games, than Supercell's other games. We're talking tens of thousands in the other game, where this one you can get it for $200 or less. I'm talking about a max account. I don't know if that is by design or if that is something that they're going to work on in the future, because obviously it's a game. They're not making it out of the kindness of their heart. They need to make money on it, and that's all understandable. Yeah. But I do think that they've done a great job on not making a max account so far out of reach for, you know, the average person.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I mean, I don't know about you guys, but I am a lot more willing to spend some money in Brawl Stars than, say, Clash Royale. I mean, I play Clash Royale a ton, and yes, I absolutely spent money on Clash Royale, but it was almost like, well, what's the point of spending money in Clash Royale? Because there's no way I'm going to get anywhere close to maxing out my account, whereas Brawl Stars,
Drop in
I'm
the
like,
bucket.
yeah, but Brawl Stars, if I drop $50, I'm like a quarter of the way there. I'm like,
Yeah.
dude, sweet. That'll get me way further and give me some great time to, play some game modes and stuff like that. I don't know. Maybe more people would be willing to spend. Who knows? I don't know if that's Supercell's strategy or if they are going to tone it down, but it's definitely at least in a nice spot right now, I would say.
Yeah, it's in a really nice spot. More people are spending, less money. I don't know, might balance itself out. Who knows?
Yeah, I guess we'll see. Okay, let's go ahead and move on to this last question. Now, this is kind of an ambiguous question, but how do you think Brawl Stars is going to be different 1 year from now? The number one response was from Letsamir, and he says, still no global release. Just kidding. He says, I think there are going to be many, many more features and a lot of QE life changes. For example, spectator mode, game log, more and bigger events, daily login bonuses, quests, some kinds of esports. I'm certain we'll see some esports stuff. That'll be exciting. New game modes, new brawlers, new maps, new skins. What do you think of that, Lex?
Yeah, well, first of all, Let's-Mir, you stole my joke because I was totally going to make that. It'll be almost out of beta in a year. No, I think, we've talked about most of the things. Let me hone in right here on the esports, is that I think that this game has such an amazing potential. I think it's going to be massive in the esports scene, and I think that a year from now we will have seen some ginormous, that's an official word, by the way, ginormous tournaments, and esports scenes, it'll be worldwide.
Yeah, absolutely. What do you think, Trikshot?
I definitely agree. I think that esports in this game has a huge potential, and with organizations and teams already moving in on it, I think that a little bit more polishing, and once this game is fully ready to go, it'll be one of the top tier mobile esports games out there. 3v3, play with your friends. You got Showdown where it's really competitive, so there's lots of different things to for esports to take her out here.
Yeah, absolutely. It's going to be interesting and exciting. I mean, I don't know what kind of money is in esports, but I know there's a lot of it. And I'm sure that Supercell is very interested in doing that. They've done massive things with Clash Royale over the past year. They spent millions of dollars on esports, and I can only imagine that a similar thing is going to happen with Brawl Stars. I think we might even make our way over to London for a global Brawl Stars World Championship someday.
Awesome.
That'd be pretty sweet.
Yeah, it would.
Hosted by Lex.
What?
There you go.
There you go. One more comment here. AR Jeff, second highest rated comment here, says, I believe Brawl Stars will be a very different game in 1 year. I believe that we will easily see a global release, which will make the player pool much larger and probably hopefully fix some of that matchmaking issues we've seen. He says we will see a few new huge YouTubers come to fruition, much like Nick at Night shot up with Boom Beach and Orange Juice shot up with Clash Royale. I like the sound of that. I don't know about you, Lex.
Right.
He says, I believe we will also see a new, he mentions a band versus band game mode as well, and a few more trophy game modes to diversify the game. We should also see about 10 to 15 more brawlers as well. I think this will by far be Supercell's largest esport hit. It's very exciting to play, and I think we may even see a competitive ladder similar to League of Legends. I believe the game will have some of the largest mobile tournaments of all time by the end of the year. I cannot wait. The possibilities are endless.
This man's reading my mind.
Right? So much stuff on there. What do you think of that, Trikshot?
I think that, most of the stuff he says, that could definitely be a possibility. Lots of new YouTubers coming on Brawl Stars. I think that, everyone in the community is doing such a great job, interacting with everyone. It's going great. And I think, he originally mentioned band versus band when we were talking about what does the game need after it goes global. So I think he's really on the band versus band side. But I think that esports, like we said in the last one, will definitely be huge no matter what. Yeah. It could, be one of the biggest esports games for Supercell and possibly even mobile.
Yeah, one of the things that he mentioned there was that about matchmaking being better, and I know that that's a sticking point for a lot of people in the community, myself included, and I am excited to see whenever millions of more people come in to play this game, it's going to take a little bit for them to get up to near the top, but then the top players, they're not going to have such an easy time playing guys like me, and so it'll be nice to see that, and plus I won't have to play them. That'll be nice to see, and I think that's going to help a lot of people. Actually, it'll help the lower people right now as well, because they're going to be playing people similar levels to them, and it'll help them push up a little bit better as well.
Trikshot, did you want to announce anything regarding the subreddit?
Regarding the subreddit, there's a few announcements we have coming up. So probably by the time or around the time that this is coming up, we are, always looking to improve the subreddit. So, hopefully by the time this video's out, might be a little bit later. We plan to overhaul the design of the subreddit. It's currently in the process of being done, but we want to make it look a little bit more like the current game you're playing rather than the old update, which is currently styled for. And in addition, we hope to continue to, provide a great place for people to discuss the game, talk about the game. So, as always, keep making posts, and we're happy to have everyone on the Reddit community.
Yeah, one of the things that I think is pretty awesome about the Reddit community, and big props to everybody there who contributes, is that Supercell, the Brawl Stars team, they read Reddit all the time. They get a lot of suggestions. They really take into account what you guys talk about, and I think that's pretty cool to have that interaction, at least that direct line to the developers themselves. So absolutely keep adding your thoughts into Reddit, and it's going to work out really well in the end.
Absolutely, yeah. Reddit's a fantastic community. It's actually where I came from even before I thought about doing YouTube. So really fantastic place. Great to see a lot of people positive posts in there. Guys, let me know what you thought about this video. What kind of questions would you like us to discuss in the future with the community for future episodes? And if there are any special guests that you would like to have join on the video, please let us know as well. I want to give a huge thank you to Trikshot for being our special guest on the video. Thank you so much, man.
Yep, thanks for having me, guys. It's been awesome.
And then Lex as well, thank you for joining.
I was pleased to be here, and thank you to the Reddit community for providing us so much good stuff to talk about.
Absolutely. For now, this is Trikshot, Lex, and KairosTime ticking by, and we will see you in the arena.